Okay, so finding your nice, comfortable seat, just kind of wiggling around a little bit just to make sure you're comfortable. Spine erect, shoulders soft, legs soft. If you have some props, I love in the morning just propping my knees up and giving my legs a little rest. So whatever helps you stay nice and stable. And then taking your gaze toward the floor or closing your eyes completely. And without changing it, beginning to notice the breath. Let's see if we can make it travel just a little bit. Take your next inhale to your back ribs really low. And then exhale and release that. And then take your next inhale to your left upper ribs. And release it. Can you really do that? No, but yes, we're trying. And then to your right low ribs. And release it. And then all the way in the barrel of your chest. And release it. And then fall back into your natural breath pattern as we bring the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present, a special prayer of thanksgiving for our teacher, Baba Hari Das. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga, and with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So every day, every practice, what do you need for self-transformation? Patience, kindness, speed. What do you need? Bring it right into your mind. And then form a positive sentence as if it were already happening, a sankalpa, a sacred vow. And repeating it to yourself 3 times. And letting that thought drift from your mind down into your heart space. We'll bring it back at the end of class. I'm going to chant one Om to open our class. I have a noise reduction, so I'll break off really quickly. So you join me and make your Om big and beautiful. Exhaling the breath all the way out and inhaling to chant. Just noticing your body with the vibration of Om. And then very gently using an inhale to flutter your eyes open. And then just letting your fingers fold into a lotus for just a moment. Just opening your hands. Beautiful lotus flower. Pinky finger and thumb can touch gently. Just spread your fingers. Good. And then we're going to dive the fingers down for just a moment. Just dive them down and up. Just a little dive to the wrist. Just opening. Those of us who do the hand mudras, we recognize part of it. But this morning, it's for our wrist. Good. And then spread the arms apart. Just spread as if you were pushing something way far to either side. Good. Really press, 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 and then begin to move your fingers one by one, just twirling your fingers. Good. And then arms fully moving. Hands, fingers, little salsa or flamenco. Beautiful. Good. Excellent. And then just shake out your hands for a moment. And rest your hands on your thighs, somewhere on your thighs. Good. And then we're going to lift up, and this is going to be our midline. So where we are lifted up out of the pelvic basket, we're going to lean a little bit, and we're going to just make a tiny circle around that line. So you're going to go forward and to the side and back. And then think about your pelvic basket for a moment. Think about headed toward one sit bone, the tailbone, the other sit bone, and the pubic bone. Just think about the whole of the pelvic basket and your pelvic floor. Okay, and then let's go back in the other direction. So what are we really working here? The femurs. The heads of the femurs that are deep in the sockets. Good. And then coming up nice and tall, nice and tall. And just for a moment, let's put our hands into this action. Let's lift as we inhale and twist over to the left. And then exhale, return to the center. All right, so we're going to inhale, twist to the right, and exhale back to center. Inhale, twist, exhale, center, and then inhale, twist, and exhale, center. And then just release for a moment. Good. Taking your head, just your head, so your whole chest is going to stay. Taking your head over to the left. And then gaze behind you and see what you see. See as far as you can. Just mark it with your mind where you see. And then bring your head back into neutral. Good. And then over to the other side. Look as far as you can back behind you. I have this little things on the wall that I'm looking at. And they come back into the center. Okay, good. And then once again, we're going to twist over to the left side and just staying there for just a moment. Bring your head right over bring your chin right over your sternum so that nothing else is really involved yet except your thoracic spine. Good. And then move your head from left gently through the center to right. Maybe lift your chin a little if you feel some compression in the back of your neck. Just a little bit of twisting to either side, just with the head. Good, and then come back into neutral and then release. Good. And then just notice the difference left to right. Okay, we're going to inhale, lift, and twist over to the other side. Chin right over your sternum initially. So your shoulder is open. Even your left arm is still open, so don't really close it down. Just keep it open. And then with just your head balancing on the top of your neck, just lifting it. You may even lift your chin a little bit and come back. And then the other side. And come back. I'm just taking it nice and slowly. One more time to either side. And then back into the center. Good. And then release. And now notice left to right. How does it feel? Both sides of the body. Just noticing. Good. And so if you have your blocks, let's move those out of the way. And come over into all fours. Okay. Wrist right underneath your shoulders and hands in front. So initially, just point your toes and try to pat the tops of the feet into the mat. Just pat them down into the mat. And then curl the toes under, opposite direction. And then point the toes and push them down toward the mat. And then curl the toes under. Good, one more time. Just the feet. And then curl them under last time. And then pick which one is most comfortable for you, because we're going to do something with the hands. So this time we're going to turn the hand around. We're going to do one, and then release, and then the other hand. So your wrist goes where it is for both. So in one, your hand is underneath you, and the other, your hand is in front of your shoulder. Okay, so we're going to just do one at a time initially. and then back, and then one more to either side, and back. Good. And depending on how that feels to you, switch your feet. So if you have them laid out, curl them under. If you have them curled under, lay them out. And then think about for a moment, just switching both. Push into your feet so you're not dumping weight into your wrists. Really push into your feet, your legs. Good. And then return back to normal. Good. And then arch your spine up. We're going to take a little cat. Toes are curled under, and we're arching up. And then we're going to lay the toes out and arch in the opposite direction. So following your breath, let's curl the toes under and exhale here. Belly to spine. And then lay the feet out and inhale into the opposite direction. Following your breath, slow it down as much as you can and not force it. One more. This time really press into the floor with the feet and the hands. And then press into the floor, feet and hands, opposite direction. Good. And then just press back for a moment until you can stand on your knees. Good. Make some wrist circles. And maybe your fingers in some big dark bear fur or white polar bear fur. Just dig in there with your fingers. Good. And then we're going to just take our hips toward our heels for a moment. And then come up just to neutral. And then lean back a little. So I'm not using my arms or my hands. I'm going to flex and go down just a little. I'm coming into neutral. I'm not thrusting anything forward. And I'm just relaxing into my chest. Good. One more time. Come down. And then up to neutral. Find your neutral spot. And then opening your chest. And you can just let your arms be for a moment. Good. Notice I haven't lost my head yet. Good. And then bring the shoulders and stack them back over your hips. Good. We're going to go back down to all fours. So just a little Surya Churya. Okay. We're going to reach back initially with the left foot. Just reaching back. Good. And then lift the leg, but the toes stay pointed toward the floor. So don't hike it up. Try to keep it parallel to the floor like the rest of your body. Good. And then the opposite arm can float up, palm toward the midline. Surya Churya, sunbird. Good. And then release the hand and release the leg. Good. And then I'm going to lay that foot back out. I like mine on the floor. And then I'm going to reach back with the right foot, right leg, all the way back. Good. Really press through your heel, stack the heel over the foot. Really press through the heel for a moment. And then lift. Toes stay toward the floor. So no rotation in the leg. Good. And then the arm can float up gently, also parallel to the floor. Belly's pulled in, pelvic floor is engaged. And then release the hand and release the knee. Good. And then lay both feet out again, just tapping them toward the floor. Great. And then find yourself one more time in neutral. Really engage your belly, pull your belly away. Okay. And this time we're going to take our left foot back and with a bent knee. So we're just taking the foot toward the hip. And then release it. Straight leg, press through the heel. And then we're going to bring the knee into the chest, just toward the chest. We're on train tracks. We're not on a tightrope. So keep it over to the left side. Good. And then release it back. So keeping your knee bent, right leg coming up. Keep the knee bent, take the heel as close as you want toward your bottom, as close as feels comfortable and you can do without strain. And then begin to straighten the leg to parallel. Good. Press through the heel, really feel that engagement. And then draw it in. And remember, train tracks. So it's not in the middle of your mat, it's right behind your right arm. Good. And then release it. And come back into neutral. Now let's curl our toes under. Come one more time, just into our kneeling, standing pose, the kneeling pose. Okay. Take our hips back toward our heels. We're going to kind of rotate onto the ball of the foot. This is often called toe balance. I want to say you, so I'm holding my ball. Toe balance is really ball of the foot balance, isn't it? Good. And then from here, we're going to just begin to stand. So I need a counterweight. I'm just going to reach forward with the counterweight as I begin to unfold. My heels are still off, if that's possible. Heels are still off. Till I find myself upright. And then lower into the feet. Good. Excellent. Okay. So now let's come into the middle of the mat for just a moment, just to get our Tadasana. Okay. So relax your arms, relax your body, relax your knees, relax your ankles. Good. Excellent. And then we're going to lift the toes initially. Just lift the toes. Your arches engage. Lift the knees by lifting the quads. Don't lock your knees. Good. Pelvic floor lifts. Belly engages. And then just drape your toes down. Good. Let's peel up the left heel. Just peel it up for a moment. And then we're going to keep everything in the whole body just like it is, except for the left leg. Slowly and externally rotate it. Just as far as it goes. My heel can press above the ankle, or it can just stay on the floor, whichever feels most comfortable to you. Let's bring your arms out and up. Just reaching up out of the pelvic basket. Your shoulders can just come right on up. And then we're going to lower our shoulders and our arms. Okay. And then bend your right knee slightly. And just holding like this for a moment. Just heel, straighten the leg, toe, heel, toe, heel, and toe. Good. And then lift up, way up one more time. And then let's clasp the hands and bring them down into Anjali. We're going to gently release the left leg, bring it back front center, and then to the floor. Good. And then just release your arms. Nice soft body. Good. And then re-engage, feet first, ankles, knees, hips, pelvic floor, belly, everything engaging. Good. And then release the toes. And we're going to peel up the right heel. Everything staying the same. Just rotate, externally rotate that one leg. Good. And then the heel can stay, the toe can stay right there, or it can lean up into the above, whichever feels most stable to you. Take the arms out and then way up. So shoulder blades can come way up, swallowing your neck for just a moment. Good. Lift. And then open the arms. Palms are facing up. Good. And then bend the knee gently, left knee gently. And then heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, and heel, toe. Good. And then begin to lift. Arms going to come way up overhead. Let the hands touch. And then bring the hands down into Anjali. Good. And then we're going to release the right leg, bring it back, and all the way to the floor. Good. And so just let your body recalibrate for a moment. All of your postural muscles were tight to the bone. Good. Okay. So let's spread our legs for just a moment. Lengthwise on your mat. Good. A little wiggle to the hips, just so we know this action is coming from. So I want you to, for just a minute, hook your bottom further out past your heels. And then come leaning over a little bit from the hip. So the whole torso comes together as a unit. And then draw your hips back over close to your ankles. So initially, show you what I mean from the side. Initially, you can see my heels. Well, you can see one heel. So I'm going to initially poke my bottom way out so I can get the length there. My bottom is way past my heels. And then I'm going to gently draw my hips back in line with my heels. Good. And then you can release your hands to a block, or you can hold your elbows and then release your neck. Just a gentle no and yes with your head. If you don't usually invert, if you have eye pressure problems, keep your head parallel to the floor and don't really sit, okay? Glaucoma, any eye pressure problems, just looking at the floor. Just waiting until your hamstrings say, okay, this is enough extension. Let's place our hands at the top of the thighs. Take an inhale and lengthen again. And then exhale, come up. Nice and slow. And then heel toe until you feel comfortable back in your Tadasana. Good. So I have a chair close to me today. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do for just a moment. We're going to just find a prop. It can be the wall. I just want you to do what we were doing on the floor with that leg with no rotation. With the chair or a wall or anything you have handy, okay? So just be sure you're close enough. And maybe look for just 1 second, okay? So when I come over, I'm coming in my Tadasana. So my whole Tadasana, my whole one Tadasana is going to rotate over my standing leg. So I don't want to lose my Tadasana. So I'd much rather see this than this, okay? I want your hips to stay aligned, okay? So let's try that. Whether it be a wall, that you're parallel to the floor. And if you use the wall, just press off and come back up. Good. Excellent. And you can look behind you and see that your toes head to the floor. Okay, good. And then let's do the other side. So coming back. Since I didn't specify side, you probably did your easiest one first. That's our nature. Let's do the other one. So you're just finding your Tadasana and hinging over your standing leg. Good. Excellent. Just really feel the sensation, how you have to press through your heel. Imagine that I'm standing behind you and you're going to press your heel into my hand. Good. And then release it and push away and come back up. Great. Okay. Now on the floor, when we bent our knee, it looked like this. We came over and we bent the knee, right? But we were keeping our hips down. So again, we're not doing this. This is the easy part. This is the challenge part. Okay. So from the other leg, it looks like this, wherever we were. So we're not straining anything new. Okay. So as you're ready, have your wall, have your chair, have your prop. Good. Initially, just step back a little bit with your foot, whichever leg, step back. And then begin to pivot over your standing leg. Just slowly pivoting, pivoting, pivoting. Your wall or your chair or your prop. And just bend the knee. Good. That's it. And then straighten the leg. Make sure the toes are headed toward the ground. And then I'm going to push off and release the leg. Good. Let's do the other side. Okay. Good. So step back initially, just so you can find the length of your Tadasana as you begin to hinge right over that standing leg. Just hinging. Find your wall or your chair. I notice that on my standing leg, I have to make sure my heel is right behind my second and third toe crease. If I have my heel behind my big toe, I'm unstable, just like when we're in Tadasana. So find it and then bend the knee. All right. Notice each side is very different. Good. And looking down at the floor. Good. Begin to press off and lower your leg. Good. And then let's find our Tadasana for a moment in the middle of that. Good. So just for one more moment, we're going to just bring up the left leg. Just bring it up as far as it's comfortable. And then keep the knee bent and take the two knees together. And then release it. Okay, and now right leg. So just lifting, thigh parallel to the floor. And then we're going to just keep the shin coming in, bend the knee until the knees are together again. And then release it. Good. And then I'm going to hold on the wall. You're also welcome to hold the wall because we'll have a tendency here to lean forward. So just holding on and just holding the foot for a moment, wherever you were. This is just holding it. And release it. And then the other side. And if you don't hold it and you have some pants you can like grab onto, that's also good. And then release it. Good. So I'm sure you know where we're going. We're going to go into our helpful dancer. So we're learning our dancer pose little by little. So this time, maybe watch one time first. I'm going to hinge at the hip, lift the back leg. I'm here. I'm going to take this leg in, and then I'm going to think about, I may not be here yet, which is fine. I may just stay right here, or I may hold the leg, whichever you do. And you may be at a place where you want to hold the leg with both hands, which I can't do if I'm talking. So whatever you want to make of it, okay? So all the modifications we need, we can stay at any place along the way. So finding your nice tall Tadasana, knowing your wall or your chair is in front. Lift up through the pelvic floor, lift up through the belly, lift your toes for just a second, then drape your toes down. And then let's step back with our left foot. Left foot steps back. Good. And then gently gain your balance. You can bend your knee as much as you want, whenever you want. And so maybe I'm staying right here today. Maybe I'm going to reach my left arm back and hold my leg. Maybe the other hand is going to join it. Just depends. And then slowly rotating, bring the knees together, and then release your leg. Good. Okay, let's do the other side. Okay. So stepping back with the right foot, just step back a little. Find your Tadasana. That's going to require a little hinge at both hips initially. Good. And then start to lift the leg. You can bend the knee whenever you want. You can bend it soon, or you can bend it once you've got the leg straight, and then bend. Make sure your standing leg is well balanced. Heel behind your second and third toe crease. And then deciding if you're ready on that side, each side is different, to hold the foot or the pants leg. And then slowly come up and release. Excellent, excellent. And then let's come back into the middle of the mat, find our Tadasana. And this time we're going to step apart just a little. We're going to go into goddess pose. So knees right over your ankles, and knees are headed toward your second and third toe crease. So your knees are open over your feet. Good. So initially, just finding that with your legs, and don't let your knees go really past your ankles. Good. And then coming up, think about Kali. Good. And we're going to add a little twist here, okay? We're going to twist over to the left. Come back to the center so your hips are stable. Just your torso. Twist over to the right. You may have much more option on one side than the other. Coming back into the center. Twist once more to the left. Back into the center. And once more to the right. And back into the center. Sink down a little bit more. Place your hands right above your knees. And then just looking down at the floor for a moment. Sink a little bit deeper, just a little bit deeper. And then press up. And then toe, heel until it's comfortable to step together. Good, so just finding our Tadasana. Excellent. Good. And then we're going to go down very briefly toward the floor. Just toward the floor, put your hands down on the floor, bend your knees as much as you need to for that to happen. And then look forward and drop your bottom towards your heels. So you're on the ball of the foot, again, toe balance, bringing your hands, again, to the tops of the thighs. Good. Excellent. And then bring your hands into your heart onto it. Great. And then we're going to find ourselves back on the floor, this time with our legs extended out in front. Got my pillow underneath my hips. It's a very flat pillow, but it really helps. Good. So finding your Dandasana, staff pose. Good. Put your feet for just a moment. Big toe knuckles touch, heels are separate. Good. And for just a moment, let your legs go out in external rotation, knees and feet head out to the side. Good. Abduct them a little bit more, just a little bit more. Good. The knees can be straightened or they can be bent. Mine are going to be bent a little because I have a tendency to hyperextend and press them in the opposite direction they need to go. Okay, come back into neutral. So legs, feet come up, knees come to the ceiling. Good. And then a little internal rotation. Toes toward one another, knees toward one another is the most important part. So we're sure it's the femurs that are really rotating inward. Good. And then back into neutral, knees toward the ceiling. And then soles of the feet together for just a moment in our nobility pose. Good. Soles of the feet together, peel your toes apart. Nice tall spine. Good. And from here, also with our pelvic basket not only stable, we have this extra little stability of this diamond in front of us. We're going to twist just with our torso out to the left. And then come back into the center. Remember, Babaji, inhale, lift and twist. Out to the right. Exhale, back to center. One more time. Inhale, lift and twist to the left. Exhale, back to center. And then inhale, lift and twist to the right. And exhale, back to center. Excellent. Okay. And then let's bring our knees in for a moment. So just a little tiny bit of work on our abdomen, our core, right? So just holding underneath your knees for just a moment. And initially just lean forward and curve. Just let that curve. Tuck your chin into your chest. Feel like you're doing a little seated cat pose. And then let's find ourselves upright, just upright. So you may need to lean back a little bit for that to happen. Upright. Good. And so for some of us, this is enough pull on the legs and the hamstrings and the quads. For some of us, we're going to lift the legs just parallel to the floor, holding on underneath the legs. For some of us, we can have our hands also parallel. And for some of us, you can straighten the legs or not. I'm saying right here, hands and legs. This is my happy place. So wherever you are, if it's a strain, back off so you can breathe easily. Good. And then bring your toes down to the floor for just a moment. Take your hands back behind you. Support your hands. Support yourself completely. Good. And then just one leg parallel. Flex the foot when you get there. Flex. The other one points. Flex. Flex. Flex the foot that's up. Flex. 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 And flex. Good. And then both toes pointed. And for just a moment, walk your hands out. You can lift up through your chest. So my hands are comfortable like this way. Some people's hands are comfortable this way. Just depends on your wrist. So we're going to go into reverse table for just a moment. Good. Just lifting, lifting, lifting. Look at your belly. This is called Nabi Darshan. Doing Darshan. Gazing at your belly. At your belly button. Nabi. And then slowly bring your hips back, close to where your hands were. Good. And then sitting up nice and tall. Good. And then we're going to I'm going to just move myself so I can see you again. Okay. Now coming to just a comfortable seat for just a moment. Good. And remember our first twist of the morning. What happened when we twisted and how far we could see, okay? So I'm going to ask you to inhale, hold the breath in, twist, and then exhale right there. Eventually let your chin go out over the shoulder and just see what you can see compared to what you could see the first time. And then come back into the center. Good. And then inhale, lift, twist. And when you're there, exhale and inhale, breathing gently. Eventually, let your chin drift out over your right shoulder. Noticing what you can see compared to the first twist of the morning. One more nice inhale as you lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, returning to neutral. Good. So we're going to go down to the floor in a minute. I'm going to show you just briefly. And I think most of you know this already, but maybe not. Okay. I'm going to have a block. I could have also a book or a pillow So if you're inverting, we're going to invert with Viparita Karani Mudra or headstand or handstand or anything you want to invert. If you don't invert, please, 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 just respect that and take a little bit longer Shavasana and give your body a little bit more rest. So when we go down, for our Viparita Karani Mudra, I want you just to lift your hips initially and then shake them out a little. Just shake the hips and then place your block where it's comfortable before you draw your knees in and then lift your legs. So find that balancing spot where, for me, if it's out here, my legs are going to fall. So I have to find that spot where the block is comfortable and my legs are just balanced in the socket. So just looking for that spot. As you're ready, finding your Viparita Karani Mudra. And if you're not inverting, I'm going to do it with you. We're going to just find our Shavasana, our corpse pose. Because it's not very cold this morning, I can let my arms and hands come off the mat. Babaji says this is the hardest pose to master. Everybody's headed here in 45 more seconds. So just and then slowly coming out of your inversion, dropping your knees towards your chest if you're in Viparita, and then one leg at a time, crawling down. So just finding your way gently into Shavasana, into corpse pose. That little taste of death at the end of each practice. Babaji said it's the hardest pose of all. Check in with your body. Make sure there's no tension. Just melting into the floor beneath you. And then slowly and gently bringing your awareness into your breath. Just noticing in the belly or in the chest, or right in between at the diaphragm. Where do you find your breath? Letting the eyes roll in the sockets in one direction and then the other. Letting your tongue roam the mouth, the back of the teeth, the roof of the mouth, swishing it along the front of the teeth, and then opening the mouth wide as if you were yawning. Snap, crackle, pop to the ears, wiggle your nose, just bringing our senses back online. Begin to swim the fingers and twinkle the toes, just noticing your body in space. We're going to do a little bit of breath practice here. So if you have a block or a pillow, I just want you to be able to see your belly. So if you invert, you're welcome to put it under your sacrum and look at your belly. If you don't invert, you're welcome to put a little block underneath your head and just looking right down at your belly. So I want you to let your belly expand up toward the ceiling with an inhale. I'm talking, so obviously I'm exhaling. But when I'm ready to inhale, my belly's going to go up toward the ceiling and my chest is stable. So I'm not letting it climb up into my chest. I'm just letting the organs be pushed out of the way. Belly expands. And then gravity takes it down with the exhalation. Couple more belly breaths, just watch your belly. You can also be on if you're inverting, you can be here and just watch your belly. Not climbing into the ribs. Couple more belly breaths. And then if you're on a block or a bolster or something, just take it out of the way. If you're on your block on your head, take it out of the way. Just lengthen one more time. Feet are on the floor, knees are bent. Just wiggle your hips and then shift them over to one side, set them down and roll over to the other side. Curled up in embryo pose, just all safe and secure. And then gently, using the upper arm, putting that hand in front of your face, begin to look down at the floor first, and then press the floor away with your arm. Head is the very last thing that spirals up and flops on top of your spine. Good. So let's again find our comfortable seat. We have a little bit of pranayama, a little bit of breath practice, and then just a little 5-minute short meditation. So gravity there was our friend with our abdominal breath. And our abdominal breath is the breath that brings us into our parasympathetic rest and digest, relax and release mode. So it's a breath that we all want to be able to master. So trying now with gravity being different, completely different, just not letting it move into your ribs. So exhaling the breath all the way out. And then inhale belly. Exhale belly. Use your abdominal muscles now that you don't have gravity to help you. Inhale belly. Exhale belly. And then inhaling and exhaling at your own pace, just into the belly. The lungs are just pushing the organs out of the way. It's like opening an umbrella. The diaphragm is opening and just pressing whatever was in its way. As the diaphragm contracts, it either flattens and goes to the side or flattens and goes down. So either way, it's a chest breath, a belly breath, or a right in between. It's always the diaphragm. Good, and then just letting that breath go for just a moment. Falling into your natural breath pattern. Assuring that your spine is erect and your body is soft, shoulders are soft, tongue is soft in the mouth. Your eyes can close or your gaze can move to the floor. And just noticing and letting the universe breathe you. So no control at all to the breath. Soft, shallow, just enough to sustain. Moving into our 5-minute meditation. You have an object of concentration, bring it into your mind and body. If you don't yet have an object of concentration, I'll recommend Om. You can visualize the sign of Om. You can, if you're auditory, you can hear yourself repeating Om, Om, Om. And if you're Jnani, you can think about the significance of Om, Ishvara, God. As the mind wanders, which it will do, gently, lovingly, kindly, like a toddler, bring it back to your object of concentration. Bring the mind back gently. Gently releasing your object of concentration. Just letting it go. Drifting away. And notice where the mind goes. Just noticing, no judging. And then bringing our hands into the heart. Anjali. Remembering your intention, your sankalpa, and again, repeating it to yourself 3 times as if it were already happening. And any merit we may have earned this morning in our diligent practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. So anyone or anything that you're working on, little prayers or petitions or offerings, gratefulness for something, bring those thoughts into your mind for just a moment. And then symbolically letting those thoughts drop from your mind down into your heart space, and from your heart space into the very palms of your hands, and then lift them up and just let them go off into the universe. Just let go. Bringing the hands gently back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste.